Hey guys, Jeremy at Middle Tennessee Firearms Training, out on the range today working a trigger isolation drill. This isn't anything jaw-dropping like new science. No, this is a trigger isolation drill. It's been around. I've picked up on a few things from other instructors that when I go to their classes, they like to do this. I gotta tell you, I really like doing it in all of my classes at the beginning, early on. Try helping people understand getting to the wall, pressing through the wall, and seeing what their sights are doing when they're pressing that trigger straight to the rear. The most important part is obviously don't disturb your sights all the way through that trigger press. That's how you get your most accurate shot, right? So what we're gonna be working with here is, I've got 3 1-inch pasters up here, mainly because I've shot the crap out of some other stuff and you're supposed to use really small for this. So 1-inch pasters up here, and then at the bottom of this target, if we run out of space up here, we've got 3 targets down here, one being a 1/2 inch, one being 3/4 of an inch, and the other being a full inch. So we've got some other targets to shoot at if we run out. But the object of this drill, you can run this several different ways. If you want to just run it with just your primary dominant hand, you absolutely can do that. And then obviously after you've done that a few times, run it with 2 hands. And then if you want to do it left hand or your I won't say your weak hand, but your support hand, you can run it that way too. Great way to understand, again, where that trigger breaks, what the gun's doing as you're getting to that wall and pressing through that wall straight to the rear, right? So let's run this drill a few times and we'll talk about it. Okay guys, I've got 5 fresh pasters put up because I didn't like how much wind we were dealing with. It's very windy in Tennessee today. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you, just I'm gonna give you a condensed version of what we do. I'm not gonna run all the rounds, but I'm gonna give you a couple on how we do this. So at first, we're at 3 yards and we're gonna take one of those pasters, and the idea here is I'm gonna break your grip down like this to get these fingers out of the fight, out of the whole process here for a minute, and show you that even with this crappy grip, if you get a good sight picture and you get a good trigger press and you don't disturb your sights through that trigger press, you can still get good hits. So 1-inch pasters, 3 yards, nothing crazy at distance here, but they are small targets and we're trying to refine and make sure we are not disturbing sights through that trigger press on this drill, right? So here we are. I'm gonna go ahead, get out there, present on target. Once my sights are aligned, I'm actually on the wall now. I'm also gonna remember, for you guys using red dots, like me here, I'm gonna remember to factor in that I might need to aim a little higher on a 1-inch paster to make sure that I get hits in, right? So you guys using iron sights, your front sight that I'm trying to co-witness now, actually you might cover up all, if not, or most of, if not all, of that paster. So I'm gonna get out there, hold my dot where I need to hold it. Once I get a good sight picture, I'm gonna get to the wall. Once I'm to that wall, I'm not worried about what recoils do. I'm just trying to keep my sight where I want it. And we'll get a couple like that. I just stuck 3 in the same, they're all touching lower on the paster than I normally would like, but they're here. They're right where, you get the point there, right? And then we do that 4, 5, 6 shots, 7 shots, sometimes up to 10 shots, depending on what people are doing. And then we would move over to your support hand and do the exact same thing. So now I'm gonna transition over to the next dot or paster, again, 1-inch paster. And I'm gonna do the same thing with this support hand, right? And I'm gonna make sure that I'm keeping the gun steady and the sights aligned all the way through my trigger press. I'm at the wall. I'm gonna start adding pressure once I see that I'm got the sights where I want them. I threw that one out. Common thing here. We'll talk about that in just a second here. I'm gonna get at least 2 or 3 up there. Same spot. There we go. All right. I've got 3 up there. 2 of them touching the paster, 1 just outside the paster there. Pretty consistent. Again, I would have shooters, participants in classes, we would do that anywhere from 5 to 10 rounds, depending on how they were doing and what they what they were experiencing through that. But the one thing you'll notice with this is if you're one of those throwing them low and left with your right hand, and then you switch to your left hand and you start throwing them low and to the right with your left hand, completely normal and common. That happens. It's quite common for those things to happen. Right-handers draw low and left, and you start to notice what the sights are doing in your hand when you press, right? So that's what you're really trying to avoid, is we don't want to get to the now stage, right? We don't want to get to that wall and go now. Don't want to do that. And this will also show a little bit of recoil anticipation, some of that too. But beyond recoil anticipation, what's really happening is your other fingers are trying to get involved. If you hold your hand out and you do this, you're going to see my other fingers there, and you see my middle finger still going a lot. So that interdigit connectivity there of, they both want to do that. So that's what that is. Then once we've done that 2 or 3 times, and we've, 15-ish rounds, 20-ish rounds, one hand to the other, then we get to the last pacer, and I'll say, hey, put both hands on the gun. Now hold your sights where you want them. 3 yards again, both hands on the gun, master grip, and we're gonna not disturb the sights all the way through the trigger press. I'm at the wall, I'm gonna start to put pressure, break a shot. All right, we threw one because we sped up there at the end. I was just trying to prove a point, but I'll show you that one low and left. These were my first 4. And then we got that little guy. Don't worry about that little guy out there, right? But anyways, just a easy drill. You can actually take this to an indoor range and do the exact same thing, and you can really isolate down and start to figure out what the gun, what the sights are doing as you're pressing through that trigger. And you'll notice if you do that with your dominant hand quite a good bit, and then you do that with your support hand quite a good bit, and then you join those hands together and lock in that grip, you really start to notice things get a lot easier to do and a lot easier to hit small targets like that. Jeremy at Middle Tennessee Firearms Train. Hey, stay safe, train hard, get in a class. Middle Tennessee Firearms Train, educate, train, defend. Hope to see you on the range.